This is Habakkuk 2, verse 1. I will stand my watch and set myself on the rampart, and I will see what he will say to me, and what I will answer when I am corrected. And we talked about what is going to be your response to the correction that God gives. When he tells you as you leave 2023, as we left 2023, what was it that God said to you that, hey, if you know, want to see these things, you've got to improve upon this. You've got to do better in this area. What was that for you? What was that thing? I want you to get that on your mind because that's where we left off on last week. But I want us to go a little bit. I want us to go a little bit further. All right. I want us to go a little bit further because not only do we need to know about that, but I think the next part is, one of the reasons why so many of us uh, get these visions, these dreams, these things from God, and then we get scared, we get nervous, we get worried. We start to trip, if you will, and we're just like, um, trying to figure it all out, and we're trying to understand, like, Lord, what does this mean? What am I supposed to do? And I'm so very glad that somebody asked that question, because see, here's the next portion, or the next thing in this, is that I need you all to know and to understand that part of the problem that we have, all right, part of the problem in what we have is that we get the vision, right? We get the vision, but then what we start lacking in is we say, okay, God, you gave me this vision. What about what about the provision? You know? And let me just clarify something for those who are tuned in, those who are listening in, those who are watching me live on Instagram, or maybe you're one of our Facebook or Twitter watchers, or for those of you who don't know and who don't understand, let me break something down and make it plain for you. God never gives vision without first. No, let me correct that. There's not even the first. God never gives vision without provision. And I had to correct that because I said first giving provision, but He doesn't always give the provision first. Sometimes He gives the provision first. But oftentimes, what I have seen happen is God will give the vision, and you'll have to go back to Habakkuk, right? Habakkuk 2, which says what? Write the vision, make it plain, right, upon tablets, so that he who reads it may run with it, right? That's Habakkuk 2. Then it goes on to say, though it tarry, right? Talking about the vision, though it tarry, right? Wait for it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and will not lie, right? Because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So somebody said, well, okay, God gave me this vision. And I know those of you who are reading along with me in Habakkuk 2, I did read that out of order. And that's because at first I was not reading it. I was going from memory. Then I started reading it. Um, but going back to my original point, let me just say this. Let me just say this. God gives us vision, and He always, 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 not some of the time, not a percentage of the time, always 100% of the time, if you work the vision, He always gives provision. Now the problem may be, how do you manage the provision that He gives? Uh-oh. That's the question to ask there, isn't it? How do you manage the provision that God gives? Or how do you even manage the vision that God gives. Now, I want to break down that word provision. I'm talking about provision, right? And I know some people say, "Oh, provision. You're overpronouncing it." No, I'm pronouncing it the way the Lord showed me. He said provision, right? Because with the vision, He always provides for the vision. He always provides for the vision. There's so many, and we're gonna look at quite a few of these, but there are so many portions and places in Scripture where God gave someone a vision, and then He shortly thereafter provided for the vision. He imparted a vision. We just finished with Christmas, right? He imparted a vision into Mary that, hey, you're gonna have a child, this, that, and the other, and He provided for the vision. He told her, you ain't gotta sleep with a man, you ain't gotta do nothing strange for a piece of change, none of that. I'm gonna provide you a child, right? I'm gonna provide my genetic DNA, and that is what will be used to make the man, my son, the Son of God, right? Vision, provision. He told Abraham, I'm gonna make you the father of many nations. And here's again a great example that the provision, for the vision, the what he provides for the vision doesn't always like manifest right away. He told that to Abraham. It was what I think we went over this before, but I think about 25 years or so. And then the vision came to pass. But in the meantime, Abram had and his wife had tried to provide for themselves through her handmaiden Hagar, and they had Ishmael, and then they had to end up putting Ishmael away, right? Ishmael and his mother. With every vision, God provides for the vision. So we'll say God gives provision. Provision, right? So with every vision, God provides for the vision. But the problem is, again, looking at Abraham, are you patient enough to wait on the provision to come through? Going back to Mary, do you have the faith enough to stand in adversity when he's working out the vision, but then other people don't agree, and then other people have something to say? Joseph was upset. He was ready to put Mary away. But what did God had to see when the one who she said, "Oh, I can," I mean, this is my husband, or like I'm supposed to marry this man, or we're supposed to be married, but we ain't got to the consummation part yet. How's he gonna handle this? Provision. God always provides for His vision. So my question is, as we go into 2024, as we step into this new year, all right, we've now stepped into this new year. Will you trust God through the vision for provision? Will you trust God as you're working the vision, as you're walking out the vision? Will you trust Him to provide for the vision? Habakkuk, again, I want to go back to Habakkuk. Write the vision and make it plain upon tablets. Write it down, write it down, write it down, so that he may run who reads it. And he's got excitement. He's got some renewed joy, some renewed vigor, because now he has a vision that he can, that he can work with. And now he's got a vision that he can like now that he's got something in his hands. Yeah. That's why I decided to go ahead and play Todd Delaney's song before the word of encouragement. That song we just had. Todd Delaney, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. No, it won't work, right? Yeah. That's why I played it, because I wanted you to see and to know that God gives vision. And anytime he gives vision, you just have to begin to work the vision. Then you get provision. And as you continue to work it, and every time you look at that vision, you say, well, it don't quite look like what he said. You keep on working the vision. And then watch how he continues to provide for the vision. So it says that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. But at the end, it will speak and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it. And how do you wait? By working it. See, this is why he said, write the vision and make it plain. Because see, the end result, you still have to build up to the end result. You still have to build up to the point to where you want to be. It doesn't just happen overnight. You see so many people and you think that they became overnight successes or overnight celebrities or whatever. But do you know how long they put into it? There's a lot of stuff going on, or there was about Taraji P. Henson, right? And how, she was talking about all the work that she's put into the 20 plus years, like into her craft of acting, and she still isn't fully where she wants to be. So what makes you think that after 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you're going to be right where you want to be? No. Uh, There, you have to continue to work the vision. Work your vision that God gives you. Work the God-given vision. And as you work it, God gives provision. He gives provision. God provides for his vision. But you say, well, that all sounds good, but you don't understand. He gave me the vision, and it don't seem like it's working out. It don't seem like it's gonna happen. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. I want you to look at this. We're in Ecclesiastes. I'm gonna flip over to Ecclesiastes chapter 3. It says this. It says, what profit? This is verse number 9. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse number 9. What profit has it? Or what profit has the worker from that in which he labors? What profit has the worker from that in which he labors? And that's where many of us are. We're like, you know what? I've been putting in the time. I've been putting in the work. I've been putting in the effort. I've been working the vision. And what do I have to show for it? It's still not, it's not where it needs to be. Yeah, God knows. He understands. Well, look at verse number 10. I have seen the God-given task. What does that translate to? The God-given vision to which the sons of men are to be occupied. God gave them a vision, God gave them a task, and these are what the sons of men are to be occupied with. But here's the challenge. Verse number 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. So he gives vision. As you continue to work the vision, he gives provision for that vision, right? Then the last part, also, he has put eternities in their hearts, except that no man can find out the work that God does from beginning to end. Yeah, that's the problem right there. You've got eternity in your heart, but you know that you don't have all of eternity to live on this earth. And you just feel like, before I die, before I get out of here, I want to see this thing come to pass. But you can't figure out God from beginning to end. So what do you have to do? Work the vision. What does the word of God also say? It says that he who began a good work in you. is faithful to perform it. Yeah, he is faithful to perform it and to see it through to completion. So, what am I saying to you? God's going to give you that vision. Absolutely. God has given you the vision already. I believe it. But you have to see it through to the point of completion. And as you go, God will provide for his vision. I think about uh, people who I've encountered, you know, Christina Bell, not only just Christina, but all the girls from Ziel, right? Keandra, all of them, Crystal, and Keandra's sister, all of them, right? I've seen these girls from when we were younger and the amount of work that they put in. I remember when we were younger and we would all be at the same churches and same youth functions and same events and they would have my gospel rap group, the Holy Hot Boys, come and rap, and Zael would be up there singing, and we would see, and I've seen this over the years. And then it seemed like it finally happened for Zael. It's just like all of a sudden, people started seeing them launch onto the scene, and they were singing and they were doing this. And then it seemed like they faded off the scene. And then I saw, and I watched Keandra still singing, still doing her thing. I watched Crystal and Christina, and particularly Christina, still singing and doing her thing. Now I watch, and Keandra and her sister, they have their whole clothing line, right? Their whole matter of fact, I interviewed them here on this station, and their fashion line was in Target, and I believe it was even in Sam's at one point, right? But I know for sure it was in Target, and they have been able to get as far as they have gotten, do what that because they never gave up. God gave them a vision, and along the way, the times got hard. It seemed like nothing was happening, but God still provided for the vision. Then going back to Christina never stopped singing, never stopped trying. And y'all saw Christina and the phenomenal job that she did in the Clark Sisters movie that they did, I think, for Lifetime. That all came because she held on to the vision. And as she held on to the vision, as she worked the vision, God gave provision. Friends, I just want to encourage you on today. I know it seems like everybody else is being blessed. Everybody else is but you've got the vision that God gave you. Work that vision and know that God gives provision. God provides for his vision. Another friend of mine, I'm giving you some real world examples here, right? Doe has been singing for years. But y'all feel like Doe just popped onto the scene. No. When I was younger, again, I would see Doe and her family, Forever Jones, right there in Shreveport, Louisiana. They would be singing. They'd go to the different places that they were worship leaders at their church. I remember they connected and had Israel Houghton come down to their church, and he led worship. They did backgrounds. They opened up. They did everything, all of it. And for years, Doe was singing and praying and writing, singing, writing, and praying, with her family. And then, they had that big hit that Doe wrote, He Wants It All. And it's like they just launched out, and people thought they had just arrived with that one song. No, they had been doing this. They'd been working the vision. And then God gave provision. They won a Stellar, right? One, all that. Then it seemed like nothing happened. Now, you're hearing Doe and you're seeing Doe and all that. Doe is out doing her thing. Why? And she signed to, the label and doing big things. Why? Because God gave vision and he gave provision for the vision. So I want to encourage you as we go into this new year. Many of you may have already put up a vision board into your home. Many of you may have already written out your vision and made it plain. However, you have your vision for this year, I want you to keep track of that. And when different things happen, check it off. When different things come to pass, check it off. But I want to encourage you, write it out, make a vision board, whatever you need to do. Keep that vision ever before you, and then work that vision so that when the time comes, you can launch out with it. And people will think, oh, he just, no. It didn't just happen for me. It didn't just show up out of the blue for me. No. I'm gonna tell you what happened. Here's what happened. I worked the vision. I worked the vision, and people will always think, oh, he just showed up with this. He just no. I worked the vision, and in the appointed time, God made it beautiful. In His time, He revealed it right in His time. Yeah, yeah. Friends, let me just encourage you. Let me encourage you. I mean, I'm gonna continue reading Ecclesiastes and share some more with you out of that, because I really want to get to verse number 13. But let me just encourage you and share with you. You've got to work the vision if you want to see that it come to pass for you. Work the vision. All right. It's gonna be some rough patches and spots along the way. I already know. We already know. You can handle it. You got this. But just work the vision. And as you work the vision, watch how God gives provision. Watch how God provides. Friends, I want to play this song for you. It's by J.J. Harrison and Youthful Praise, and it's entitled After This, right here on I Am Encouraged Radio, on your community minded station, 93.5 KPPM. We're celebrating 10 years of being 93.5 KPPM.